Powerland in Kauhava, Finland has over 40 different rides and attractions. This amusement park's interesting ride lineup includes 7 different roller coasters, some intense flat rides, and a few dark rides. This park has only been open for less than 2 decades, but I spent a full day at this park and was able to ride almost every major attraction. The 2 exceptions were the Fiesta Starflyer and the Typhoon Frisbee that were both closed, possibly due to staffing. So in this video, I will rank my top 15 favorite rides and attractions at Powerland. Number 15, Pyavra. This Soriani and Moser polyp ride is a dizzying experience. The bounces create small tummy tickling sensations, and while it's not the fastest version of this ride type, the 3 axes of spinning work together to throw off the equilibrium of riders. Number 14, the Real Snacks Jet Ski. While I'm not a big fan of the name, this Zier Wild Water Rondell flat ride is a relatively rare water whip. These rides are most commonly found at the Legoland parks, and they offer a neat ride experience. It's rare to experience an attraction standing up like this, and when you steer your vehicle outwards, you skim over the waves and get some mild laterals at the same time. Number 13, Dragon Tower, specifically the observation mode. Powerland's Mosier Rides Drop Tower is unique in that it runs 2 different programs. It operates both as a traditional drop tower and as an observation tower. There are 2 separate entrances in the queue line for both modes. If there's demand for both, the park alternates cycles, but from what I saw, the drop tower mode is far more popular. While I too prefer the drop side, the observation side offers extended views of both Powerland and the entire Power Park Resort because you slowly spin both on the ascent and descent. Number 12, Joyride. This L&T Systems family coaster is a super compact ride, and it offers some mild forces due to the tight turns and relatively long trains. The back row has some good whip down the first drop, while the other turns offer better forces towards the front of the train because you're pushed into them. And the coaster is shockingly smooth despite its appearance. This is probably the park's best family coaster, and it's an enjoyable ride for all ages. Number 11, Neos Twister. This Fabry spinning wild mouse is more comfortable than the other versions I've ridden from this company. This one makes some questionable noises, particularly in the hairpin turns, but those hairpin turns do offer some nice laterals. While the drops aren't anything special, you do spin for a majority of the layout, unlike the more common Zamperla or Reverchon spinners. Number 10, Cobra. This Vekoma boomerang is one of the best out there. It's one of the newer ones as it was built in 2005, and it also features Vekoma's newer generation MK1211 trains. These trains do still feature over-the-shoulder restraints as opposed to lap bars or vests, but the superior track work eliminated all headbanging. That allowed me to appreciate the solid initial plunge and forceful blitz of inversions, going both forwards and backwards. The other cool thing about this boomerang is that the station fills with smoke when you pass through it. That makes the forceful inversions even more disorienting. Number 9, Funhouse. This construction-themed funhouse has 2 stories of gags. A majority of them are floor gags, ranging from rollers to spinners. But you also have some visual effects, such as these technicolored lightsabers dangling from the ceiling, and an effective vortex tunnel. And the ride finishes with a spiral slide as well. There are better funhouses in Europe, but this is far superior to most funhouses I'm accustomed to in the United States. Number 8, the Kwai River. This interlink log flume has some interesting quirks to it. The most notable is the initial drop sequence. After the initial plunge, rather than hitting a splashdown, you skim down the straightaway, and then you whip around this unbanked turn. And this turn offers some great laterals because you have no restraints and no seat dividers. You then continue down another small drop before finally hitting a conventional splashdown. I can't think of another log flume with a drop sequence like this. The second drop is more conventional, but it's fairly tall and offers a tiny pop of airtime. The ride is not a soaker, and is probably a good thing considering Finland's climate. And then outside of the drops, there really isn't too much to look at, but those drops carry the ride. Number 7, Devil's Mine Hotel. This Gassetto interactive shooting dark ride has a really cool western facade that even includes an animatronic. Then the ride itself has some quirks to it. Unlike most shooting dark rides where you can shoot to your heart's content, you have a limited number of shots you're allowed to take on this one, so it requires some strategy when you fire. Rather than having 2D cutouts like a lot of regional parks, this dark ride had animatronics. They didn't have too much movement, but it did add a lot to the experience. The ride wasn't in the best condition between the screechy vehicles and some targets being inactive, but it was still a nice change of pace from the other rides. Number 6. Booster. Produced by Fabry, this giant thrill ride offers some good G's in the downswings and some well-timed flips as you fly over the top. This one wasn't as fast as the other boosters I've ridden, but it's always a rush being sent head over heels when you're over 100 feet in the air. Number 5. Pegasus. This technical park creation is the park's most intense ride. This flat ride is the love child of a top scan and an evolution. The ride cycle is pulsed. The ride slowly meanders for most of it, but has these two wild bursts where you flip and rock uncontrollably. I have no clue what the ride did to my body, but I enjoyed it. It was a disorienting blur of sustained hang time, abrupt rocking, and positive G's. I've never seen this type of ride elsewhere, but I'd love to see more. It was a wild experience. Number 4. Dragon Towers Drop Mode. This Mosier Ride's drop tower stands 246 feet, or 75 meters tall. It offers an amazing view of both the amusement park and the Power Park Resort, because you spin on the way up. This is the same ride system as Busch Gardens Williamsburg's Mock Tower, which gets a lot of flack in the coaster community, but I actually enjoy that ride, and the drop feels similar on this one. You float the entire way down. Number 3. Thunderbird. This Great Coasters International wood coaster has less turns than other GCIs. Instead, it's a more straightforward double out and back layout, with a sea of airtime hills. While the ride has some decent airtime moments in the first half, it does fizzle out in the second half and sadly has no airtime on the return run. The ride is fairly smooth outside the pullout from the first drop, and it's the best wood coaster in all of Finland, although that's not saying too much. Number 2. Pitt's Special. This Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster offers a confusing ride experience. The first drop and subsequent pullout are great. You go from some decent ejector airtime to crushing positive G's in an instant. And there's also a speed hill in the first half that delivers some great ejector airtime. However, this coaster has some of the worst pacing on the planet. Almost every element seems like it's too tall or elongated, so it feels like you're going to valley in most elements. And as a result, the ride offers barely any positive G's or airtime outside the moments I highlighted. And coming in at number 1 is Junker. This Gerstlauer Infinity Coaster is everything I wish Pitt's Special was. This ride is intense start to finish. The initial launch is one of the most powerful out there. This LSM launch packs a wallop and it will pin you to the back of your seat. Then the layout includes several hills delivering great ejector airtime, most notably the top hat. And you also have 3 inversions featuring great near misses and copious amounts of hang time. And as a bonus, you're usually getting extreme laterals on those hills and inversions at the same time. Combine that with many compact valleys that pile on the positive G's, and you have one of the most underrated launch coasters in the world. So those are my top 15 favorite rides and attractions at Powerland. Junker is the only truly elite ride, but the rest of the supporting cast of coasters and non-coasters offers plenty of interesting experiences. What are your thoughts on any of the rides I mentioned? I would love to hear your thoughts down in the comments. If you enjoyed this countdown, I'd appreciate if you gave this video a like, and you considered subscribing, because there'll be a lot more roller coaster and amusement park videos here at Canopy Coaster. Thanks for watching.